Welcome to Executive Insights. I'm Nasheen Liu, partner with the IT Media Group, a CIO-centric media company. My guest today needs no introduction. He's Luc Villeneuve, a highly respected senior technology sales executive who in March 2023 announced his retirement from a remarkable career spanning 4 decades in technology. In this episode, I asked Luc about the number one lesson he's learned in his career, what it takes to be a super connector. Luc and I also discuss a topic that is dear and near to both of our hearts, being an advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and women in technology and leadership. Luc imparts a wealth of wisdom that you don't want to miss. Hi, Luc. So wonderful to see you and welcome to Executive Insights.
Thank you, Nasheen. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Luc, a while ago, you announced your retirement. Reflecting on your remarkable career spanning 4 decades in technology, what would you say is the number one lesson you've learned?
Well, yeah, 40 years is a long time. I remember when we started 40 years ago, the technology was not what it is today. I don't think I had a phone back then. My first job we had was a real regular phone connected to a line phone. One thing that the technology has brought to me is the connections with people. More you are using technology, faster the information flows, faster the good news or the bad news flows around. So to me, the big lesson learned is you have only one reputation. Be careful about it. It takes 20 years to build a good reputation. People can trust you. It takes one mistake to destroy everything you've built over 40 years. So, and the technology has created this amount of information that exists out there that never disappear. Social media are very powerful. So if you're 16 years old today, for the people that are listening to this, 16, 17, 18, whatever you put on social media, when you're 50 years old, it's still going to be there. So you need to be very careful what you want to portray, what you want people to think about who you are, what you do, because you might get a job offer or not because of what you've been posting in some of the social media. I've been coaching some young people over the last few years that they go to interviews and then I go to their social media posts, Facebook, whatever, and what is there is not really appropriate. And they may be not be getting the job offer because of that. So I always be careful. You only have one reputation, and the first impression is the real impression that you make. So to me, you have an identity that is easy to damage, but it's also easy to maintain if you do the right things. So I think people are listening all the time. There is people watching you all the time, so you never alone anymore. So you need to be careful. So to me, the reputation you have is the only thing you really have, and that's one thing over the years I realized the people came to work for me. The partner liked what we did as a partner. The customer respected me or trusted me because of the reputation. I've never had a bad story or situation where someone said, well, you need to be careful with this person. It was the other way around. You can trust that if he says he's going to do something, I'll do it. And so that's kind of the reputation part of every executive is very important. And I think for the most part, the association I've had with a lot of executives were very positive.
I couldn't agree with you more about the importance of reputation. I'm a firm believer in giving people second chances, but reputation is an area that is very difficult to rehab. We say that reputation is our currency in our career. And if reputation is indeed our currency, then you are a very rich man, Luc, because I've known you for about 17 or 18 years, and you've carried with yourself a very strong reputation in the industry. And as a super connector, Luc, You're very well known for creating genuine, deep, meaningful, long-lasting relationships across the industries. What is your secret sauce? Can you share some advice with those who might be in a sales capacity in particular?
To me, the first thing that comes to mind, Nasheen, is the respect. There is people that allows you in their LinkedIn, allows you in their office, allows you to respond to phone calls or emails. That respect, don't take it for granted. It's that has potentially a limited amount of time that is good, that people will respect you and you would respect them. For example, over the years, I always said I always return my phone calls within 24 hours. I always return my emails within 24 hours. And that's something was from day one when I started in sales, that was one of the best practice return people's call. Sometime you may not know the person. In LinkedIn these days, it's really hard because it's too much. There's just too much happening. But if someone knows me and reach out to me, I will return 100% within 24 hours my calls or my emails or my LinkedIn question or request. You have to imagine that people are reaching out to you for a reason. To me, I respect the reason why they're reaching out. They're taking the time. They think about you. They probably put some thoughts about what they want to say about the conversation. They invite you for lunch, for breakfast, for dinner. I've had a lot of those over the years. And you know what? I would not turn down someone that I know that wants to talk about something. Maybe he wants to have a, a confidence about something. Maybe he wants to build something that is unique. Maybe he wants to get some ideas, wants some advice, wants to get some coaching. All of that's part of the same bucket for me of why people are reaching out. And it's not always about the business per se, but often it leads to that. I've learned a lot from meeting with people that I had no particular agenda out of the gate, and they had an agenda which I was not privy sometimes, right? And then you start talking and you start exchanging, and then it gets into different direction. And these conversation leads often to a better place for where we both are. So to me, I believe that give the time of the people, they take the time to reach out to you and you know them. We get a lot of cold calls. It's harder to return every cold call, everybody all the time. But sometime I will put my finger into retaining someone I don't know, and then I see what happened. But to me, the respect is key to respect the people reaching out to you and returning their calls. Be positive. I'm always a guy with a glass half full. I'm a really positive person. When things are going bad, I always try to find a positive, but trying to figure out how we can do better at what is going bad. But I never lead teams or conversation or discussion about the negative. So the negative, people know about it. We don't want to ash it out too much. We need to identify it, understanding, acknowledge, but don't drill into that. Be positive. And I think a lot of people came to work together as a team, and we really had fun, and we really took the positive attitude to the work we do every day in, day out, and be able to celebrate success and be able to acknowledge failures and be able to do better, but be a positive person. I wake up in the morning with a smile. I go to bed with a smile. That's my personality. I'll always be like this. So be positive, and a lot of positive things will happen to you. And avoid spend a lot of time with negative people. I try to avoid as much as possible. If someone is negative, has been negative around my life for the last years or last months, whatever, eventually you try to avoid these people, and please avoid the people that are negative, because it's not healthy for anybody to associate yourself with negative people. And to be a connector, like you said, Nasheen, it takes a lot of hard work. It's a commitment. To me, I would say over the last 25, 30 years, I would have 5 to 8 hours a week of connecting to my network, whether it was a lunch or breakfast or coffee. So it takes a lot of commitment to stay in touch with your network. And people have moved roles and jobs over the last few years. Certainly with COVID, the last 3 years, there was a lot of movement in the industry. And people are trying to reconnect to the people they know. And it created a lot more discussion, more Zoom calls for sure, and more recently, more face-to-face, because people are eager to get back face-to-face with people. So I give a lot of that time out in my personal executive agenda. And that's part of what what I do in the industry overall is I've been giving a lot of my time to people who cares about meeting with me, and that's part of my DNA. It's been like this for many years, and it takes a lot of commitment to do this all the time. If people say, okay, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to be really putting a few hours a week to network with people and to be able to help people, because at the end of the day, the exchange you have with your network, it's about helping each other and conversation about getting something better done together. And that takes a lot of work. If you do it 1 week, but if you do it every week for years, that takes a big commitment and a lot of work, a lot of effort. And I've had a lot of I know some of the colleagues are going to listen to this, how many 7 a.m. breakfasts I got, 7:30 breakfasts I got over the years. And that was my go-to early on. Not so much the last 4 or 5 years, but for 20 years, you want to meet with me? I'm available at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. If you absolutely want to talk about this, be there. I'll be there for breakfast. So I've had a lot of those, but it takes a lot of hard work to get it done.
So well said. I completely agree with you. The three key points you made there are be respectful and be always consistent when people are reaching out to you, and give them that respect of response. And no matter what stage of the career they are and whether they need something or you're going to get something in return,
Yep.
give without expecting a get, and be a positive source of inspiration for people. And knowing that creating connections over time is hard work. It is a commitment on your part. I completely agree with you and applaud you for all your efforts, Luc.
Yep.
One of your most prized legacies, I would say, is being a relentless advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and a champion for women in technology. There are a lot of people out there, especially people in the executive position, who do want to be an ally to women, but don't know what to do, what are the right things to do, and whether or not they are doing the right things. Can you impart some wisdom in that subject?
Yeah, it's been a lot of work for sure for many years trying to make a difference. I think a lot of the challenge is people don't understand what that diversity means, where they are, their baseline of their understanding where that is. And I think learning about it is the key first step. Learn about it, read about it, attend some Women of IT events, go listen, pay attention, just be an observer. There's a lot of good information that circulates. There's a lot of positive things that's going on. To be a good ally, you need to be able to listen and learn first. And that's what I did about 14, 15 years ago. I mentioned a few times that I went to an event in the US, which was a woman luncheon event, part of the agenda, and I registered to go to it. There was about 200 people registered, and there was probably 3 or 4 men in the room. It was never said woman only or men don't come, but because it was a woman luncheon, people assumed it was only, and it was a diversity conversation. And because I knew a lot of people there, I kind of finger point, oh, Luc, how are you? Wow, thank you for joining us, kind of thing. How do you feel be around the table with 10 women when you're the only man? Because we are often in the same situation where today you're the one man, but often with the one woman with 10 men around the table. So I reflected on that, and the conversation went very well for the hour, listening to great speakers. And I came back to Canada. I said, we need a voice. We need a man's voice to help with diversity. But I was not an expert by any means. I'm still not an expert. But I surrounded myself with people that knew this topic very well. Then I got another layer of education and make sure we're not making mistakes. So if you are going to take the risk of putting yourself out there like I did 14, 15 years ago by creating some women in IT event with guest speakers and all that, and I was the host for the most part for these things. You need to surround yourself with very good people that knows and can coach you and guide you, because you don't want to go backwards when you start to put yourself out there. You don't want to lose momentum and go backwards. So I had some amazing people that helped me to be relevant, to be I guess, fresh because there's a lot of old material that repeats itself and trying to be fresh as we were doing different things along the way. If you're willing to put yourself out there, it's a risk. So I was willing to take that risk by surrounding myself with the right people. So to me, the second step after you learn, if you decide to be a voice of this diversity, gender neutrality kind of a program or mandate or journey, you need to participate. You need to be there. And it's only one event, one meeting, and one panel. You need to be a volunteer. You need to raise your hands. People sometimes may not know that you're interested, may not know that you are the person who wants to have a voice. You need to lead by example a little bit. In your own organization, what I find out is in your own organization, suddenly when you see the leader leading that conversation and starting to do something different and starting to stop things that are not supposed to be happening in front of the people and putting people on the spot a little bit, because I've been told that I'm sometimes a bit direct, and then people start to pay attention if the leaders are behaving this way, versus if it just goes under the carpet and nobody says anything, and then, okay, next time the comment or the situation gets a little worse potentially. So if you shut it down right away, you avoid potential other issues with people, and by leading by example. One small little things that everybody could do as a leader or their organization: look at your staff, look at your team, and promote 3 people that has that sort of diversity point of view, a different culture, a woman, a different aspect, the culture they bring to the table. Promote 3 of them next year. Just start like that. Give yourself a goal. Say, I'm going to take part of my team. Let's say there is not enough women. So, okay, next year I'm going to promote 3 that are part of my organization. Start with little steps. Figure out a way to bring the best candidate forward, train them, coach them, help them be that person. Show them that you care enough to put them under this training program, if you wish. And we've done some amazing leadership development program over the last 10 years for women. Every organization I work for, I stretch my neck out there, getting some budget, getting some dollars, getting some funding to find ways to improve our women in IT and give them a different perspective, build confidence, give them a coach, be able to be talking to people outside the organization. And this whole thing, it's a journey. It's not a one-time event. And it takes a lot of time to invest and a lot of commitment. So I was willing to put the same way I was willing to put the 5 to 8 hours of networking, connecting the dots with my network. A lot of that was also related to diversity, women along the way. I was kind of trying to balance my connecting dots with my network with diverse people along the way. So to me, when we look at our daughter, our sisters, our colleagues, niece, that are somewhat, I would say, younger than us, and I see that we all have the ability to influence them to become in the IT industry, because we don't have enough women, period, in the IT industry. I would say that I'm still today, in the last few weeks, helping young women trying to connect the dots with different executives. And some of you who listen to this, I reach out to you to make sure this lady had an interview with your HR, because sometimes HR doesn't see the skill set, the personality. And thank you for the ones that have responded and allowing these ladies to have an interview with your organization. Although they may not get the job, that's fine. These are getting the experience, they're getting the know-how to prepare themselves better and so forth. So I've been coaching some of them in the background, so I enjoy doing that. And I think my daughter being one of those young women out there, and I saw the progression by having a leader like me coaching her. And I think if every man has the same, put someone under their wings, a young woman to help them and coach them, I think we're going to see our young women do very well for the next 10 to 15 years. But we need to be participating into this, and we need to be part of it.
So well said and so inspiring, Luc. I wanted to say that everything you just said and shared rings so true. The first step is indeed acknowledging what you don't know and be open-minded to learning opportunities and surrounding yourself with knowledge experts, but more importantly, to act on it, to actively participate and to lead by example. I think over the years, I'm privileged to have been invited and have participated in many of those events that you have led. The value has been tremendous. And I know for a fact that your influence is going to be around for many, many years to come. I really appreciate everything that you've done, Luc.
Oh, thank you. Alain Bernier and I did some amazing work in the last 3 years with Men's Allies, and we created this e-journal that is best practice, and this is part of the learning from different people, what's right, what's wrong, what's the best practice. And we now are into about 25, 30 page of best practice. As we did our panel sessions over the last 3 years, we captured all the great comments, great feedback, great best practice initiatives. And today, this e-journal is available. And it's also an evolution of paper that will eventually be maybe 50 page. But whoever wants to have access to that e-journal, I'll email it to you, Nasheen. You can email it to whoever they want to go. It's simple, it's not complicated, but it's what diversity, cultural differentiation, and it's all about the best practice, what's right, what's wrong about the whole thing. So it's maybe a good place to start learning.
We'll make sure to link the e-journal in our show notes.
Okay.
Thank you again, Luc, for your time. This has been a very insightful and inspiring conversation. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Nasheen. Have a good day.
You too. You've been watching another episode of Executive Insights. I'm Nasheen Liu from the IT Media Group. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please check out other content on our YouTube channel, including CIO Roundtable conversations and executive interviews. And don't forget to subscribe.